You don't need to explain your boundaries as a man. And this is why. A man's boundaries don't need validation. Explaining them to everyone turns personal standards into public debates. That is what happens. Real strength is when you quietly enforce them, not when you try to make others understand why they exist. It is quite unfortunate. And that is what is happening with our men today. They tend to think that they can become what they really want to become. But because of trying to be in a place of manipulation, such men never come out as real men. Because you don't have to explain your boundaries. You just have to stand because there's no validation that you need. There's no explanation. Real strength is when you quietly enforce your standards and make sure people get to understand where you stand. And the other thing is explaining your boundaries invites manipulation. That is what happens. When you explain your boundaries, every other time it brings about manipulation. The more you justify your boundaries, the easier it becomes for others to twist your reasoning or guilt trip you into breaking them. So, quite unfortunate. So, silence backed by consistent action, what happens? Protects both your peace and your authority. So you don't need to explain your boundaries. The idea is for you to say no when it is a no. And people should respect the fact that you say no and it is a no. Even when it comes to being in a relationship, when you say no to that woman, let her know that it is a no. She should respect the fact that that is what you have said. So boundaries are self-respect, not negotiations. Self-respect and not negotiations. So the other thing is masculinity isn't up for a discussion. So being masculine is very, very intentional. So you know these men who behave like sissies, boys who cannot even express themselves. You know, when a woman comes into their life, the only thing they can do is to say, it's okay, you can do it. A real man takes his position and stands, not based on violence, not based on unfaithfulness, on all these things, but based on integrity. That is what a man does. So a man who constantly explains his boundaries appears uncertain. That is what happens. True masculinity is grounded. It doesn't seek permission to exist or say no or to say no. Boundaries aren't up for explanation. They are part